If you're listening to this around the holidays, I want to start by saying for many people, this time of year feels very heavy, or I would say this time of year, this year feels heavier than usual. And this year, for many, many people, it feels particularly tender. There's a lot of emotional noise around us right now, externally, which is affecting people internally. Expectations, memories, pressure to be joyful and happy, pressure to be grateful, pressure to have all the answers and plans and clarity and direction. So let's very gently take our foot off the accelerator just for a few moments, just for the next few minutes, and focus on everything but fixing yourself, everything but becoming more positive, everything but pushing through. And a part of this recording is to simply say that staying grounded sometimes isn't enough to get through the season. But you can pair that with changing how you're seeing the season with a bit more steadiness and a bit more kindness towards yourself. So before we go any further, I want to say something very important. Even as a therapist, even as a medium, even as someone who's worked with mind and the unseen for decades, I don't have all the answers. If you've ever had therapy with me, you'll know that. You know that I don't have all the answers, and nor do you. But together, we often find some answers. And this is not a flaw in either myself nor you or any professional. You know, doctors don't have all the answers. They have to investigate. They have to form hypotheses. They have to ask each other and rely on each other for different opinions. It is a part of being human. And this year, like every year, we don't know what will come during the holidays. Sometimes you don't know how you'll feel. I've had people say to me, oh, I thought this was going to be horrible this year, but actually it wasn't too bad. So this too is a part of being human, where you accept that sometimes you won't know how you feel. You may surprise yourself. Not knowing is not a personal failure. Uncertainty is not something you need to heal. Sometimes it's just where you are. So if you are feeling tired, unsure, emotional, disconnected, or quietly overwhelmed, there is no pressure here to be anything other than exactly as you are. Just listening is enough. So pause here if you want. Take a breath. Let your shoulders drop. And just allow yourself to take in the next few moments. If you're doing other things while you're listening, great. I'm like you. I multitask. One thing that often happens during the holidays is that we become very aware of what we don't have. So I want to address that because people often look at the family they wish they had, the parent they wish they had, the relationship or the one that they think got away, the version of themselves we thought we'd be by now. So you often look back thinking, oh, I thought I'd be this, doing this, or having that. The life that looks very different to how you imagined it. So this life may look very different to how you imagined it. And when everything around us is telling us to be grateful, to be joyful, to just smile, festive, to be festive, have a drink, have a laugh, fulfilled, those gaps can feel even louder. And it also feels as though people are dismissing where you are right now. Get out of that. Be grateful. Get out of that. Be joyful. Just smile. if you notice yourself comparing yourself to other people or even the past when you thought things were great, and it's often in childhood. And sometimes we look back in childhood and you thought that period was absolutely fantastic. But then when you dig deeper, you think, wait, hang on, that was going on, that was going on, that was going on. So you may often find that those are fantasies. In therapy, we talk a lot about fantastical thinking. And childhood is one of those areas that can become very fantastical. And so sometimes you're replaying old decisions as well, wondering, why am I still here? Or why hasn't this changed yet? When in reality, you make those decisions, you decide. But please know this, you're not really behind in anything, because people often say, oh, I have yet to catch up. Well, you're not really behind. You've not missed some universal deadline. You know, the universe hasn't put a deadline on anything for you. So life does not unfold in a straight line. Everything's not linear. Sometimes we're not meant to have the answers in December either. December is an ending. And it can also be a beginning. Just depends on how you see it all. And I suppose this all does, really. But sometimes December is simply about getting through. And you're allowed to be in a holding pattern as such. You're allowed to rest in uncertainty. You're allowed to say, maybe quietly to yourself, I don't know right now. And that's okay. I haven't a clue. And that's okay. It's uncomfortable. I'd rather it not be. But actually, it's okay. I'm breathing. I'm here. Let's talk for a moment about grounding. And not the buzzword version. I'm so pleased that it hasn't become too buzzwordy, because everything else spiritual has. Grounding at its most basic level, so we're taking it way back, it's simply staying connected to the present moment. So much so that your nervous system doesn't actually seem like it's constantly under threat, constantly fearing, constantly on edge. And that can be very simple. And that's the whole purpose of grounding when we talk about it on a simple, basic level. It might look like noticing your feet on the floor when emotions spike, flattening your feet so that you become very connected to Mother Earth, feeling the weight of your body in a chair. So this can help your posture, funnily enough, as well. And I love this, placing your hand on your chest or your stomach and just reminding yourself that you're here. You're here in the here and now. You're safe enough in this moment. Where you are is safe. Everything around you is safe. You are safe. So you don't need to meditate for an hour to do this. You don't need to be calm all the time. How would that look? That would look a little bit odd. You don't need to raise your vibration. I know another buzz phrase that people are using now. It's everywhere. Raise your vibration. Sometimes grounding is just orientating yourself back into the room that you're in for now, wherever you are. Sometimes it's just, I'm standing in the kitchen. I'm making a cup of tea. That's it. That is leading right into mindfulness. And during the holidays, if there were any time you needed mindfulness, it's around this time. So, quick example, what if you had all things in place for your life that you feel you need in place? All the things you think are missing, what if they suddenly appeared? Does that guarantee you won't have forgotten to buy something for a crucial dinner you're hosting for the first time with your new partner and all his friends and family, and yet you forgot the cranberry sauce, or bigger yet, you forgot the turkey or whatever you're making? It doesn't. Things will still happen. You'll still be challenged in life. Why? Because that is life. And sometimes grounding is just orientating yourself back to that space that, you can't control everything outside of you. But name what you can see. Name that, you got everybody's here. Everybody wants to be, they all turned up. And you'll be happy when they go as well. Notice the temperature of the air, something very, very simple. Letting your breath slow down, even for maybe, let's say, 5%. Because some people hyperventilate when they're under stress. Literally, you can hear them breathing heavier and heavier and heavier. This is always an indication of stress for people. But small things matter more than the big gestures. When you're emotionally drained, emotionally tired, and let's be clear here, some of that is you. Most of that will be you. It won't be the 7-year-old or the baby that you've just had or your partner disappearing with his mates and leaving you alone with a 6-month-old. It won't be that. It will be how you see it. Because he's disappeared off with his mates to have a drink. That's okay, isn't it? And if it's not okay, then you would have maybe challenged it to say, to work something out. How can that happen for you? Because you need time too. And then how can it happen for you? Once they return, is he gonna take over and you go out with your mates? Another thing that can often come up at this time of year is the feeling that everyone seems to be coping better than you. It's such a fallacy. It's fantastical thinking at its biggest, most AI generated self. So they seem to be hosting, they're traveling, they're socializing, they're shopping, they're posting all these photos that suggest that they've got it all figured out. Now, I think everyone knows by now that there's a small percentage of that is true. But, I will challenge that too because a lot of people do live well. And sometimes we can say these things so that to make other people feel good, like, oh, that's all a lie. Well, a lot of it isn't a lie. Some of it, I say a lot, but some of it is true. Some people do live well. Some people have partnered well. Some people have a lot in their lives. That's fine. That's okay. Where the problem arises is when you start comparing yourself to them. For what reason? For what reason other than to make yourself feel worse? So it goes back to a lot of your pain is you. So this holiday season, if you're feeling a bit sensitive, a little bit down, a little bit teary, a little bit missing people, all of that, accept that's in the background for you, but also that other people may not be experiencing that, and that's okay. I don't know what the world would be like if everyone on this planet were experiencing the exact same thing. Yes, we're all breathing the same air, essentially, but we all see things differently. Please remember that you're seeing edited moments mostly in people's lives, not inner realities. Those of you longing for relationships, thinking that a person in your life is going to solve it all it will do is put up a huge, big, magnetic, bright, light, shiny mirror up of you. That's what it's going to do. And that's what your partner does. Your partner reflects back to you. And a lot of times you won't like what you see, but you'll blame them. So let's get back to the reality of it all. It's going to happen every year. This is in place now, this whole Christmas, Hanukkah, New Year, big celebration. It's all there. New Year's, that's all there. Never going to change. It's pretty much in place. So we have to work out a way to get through it. And if you're someone who is struggling with that, know that you can adjust your view and how you see it. Many people are functioning. Maybe they're not necessarily flourishing, but they're functioning. And many people are holding things together, with I will say quiet effort, with very quiet effort. And a lot of people feel exactly as you do, but they don't talk about it. So there'll be a lot of people on the same page as you. But you don't need to perform wellness or feign wellness, oh, everything's fine. You don't need to justify how you're feeling, your emotional state. And you don't owe anyone joyfulness, smiling, cheerfulness. It's okay to say no, and it's okay to leave early. You showed up. Now you can leave when you want. It's okay to protect your energy without explaining yourself. No explanations needed. Boundaries are not unkind. They're actually one of the most kindest things you can do for other people. Show them where they stand. People like to know where they stand. And it is the kindest thing that you can do for yourself. Boundaries are really self-respect in in action. Yeah, in action. Self-respect in action. And if emotions feel closer to the surface right now, that makes sense. Holidays tend to stir up memories. How many times have we said or looked back, oh, I remember when I got this for Christmas, or when this happened, when mom did this, when dad did this, when a sibling did that. Memory is stored, not just in the mind, but also in the body. So if you're feeling a little bit sensitive or teary or emotional or even down, remember that those memories are stored in your body as well as your mind. So if you're thinking some memories that bring up some emotion, your body will react to that. That's why you cannot pull yourself away from the settee. That's why I don't know, you have clothes piled up. Whatever it is. That's why things aren't being done. Old losses can resurface. Old grief can reappear very quietly. Old versions of yourselves, can come knocking on the door. Hello, remember me? I'm here. Do you remember when we used to be so stressed and crying over a boy or a girl or da-da-da-da? All those old versions of yourself, that teenager who was wrecked with emotion and angst and anger and hating everyone and everything, hated the air you breathed. That old version of yourself will come knocking. And if tears arrive unexpectedly, they're not a problem. They're not a problem to solve. They're often a release. If you've listened to any of my videos on emotions, I always talk about crying as being a release. It's a good thing. It means you're healthy. Try not to analyze every feeling. And I'm saying this to you from a therapist point of view who actually works with people on feelings. So I often ask people to get in touch with those feelings. But in this instance, and in this sense, in this case, you don't have to do that work. Try not to label everything as something that needs healing or you need to work on it. Give yourself a break. Sometimes feelings just want space to move through you. They don't want to get stuck with you. Let them come, let them go. They'll come back, they'll go, they'll come back. You don't need to chase meaning for everything immediately. Things will reveal themselves later on. And also, you won't be in the space to work it all out at the moment. You just won't be. You'll be too in your emotions. Now, going into the new year. So I want to speak to those who are feeling pressured to have direction going into the new year. Plans, intentions, big visions, that to-do list, and the dreaded word, resolutions. Again, as if you need to resolve something. The sense that you should know what's next. It is perfectly acceptable to step into the new year without a map, without knowing, with no direction. It's fine. Clarity often comes after the reset or after you've had some rest, reset, rest, not before it. Sometimes you need that rest and then it all comes clear. So try and reverse that. And the insight tends to emerge once you've calmed down, once your nervous system feels safe and grounded and you've had enough time to relax, you've had a few really restful sleep nights, very restful sleep. You do not need to solve your entire life between Christmas and New Year. And that's what the pressure of resolution does. It makes you think about, I need resolutions. I once saw a list of 100, here's a space, 100 resolutions for the new year. No pressure. Sometimes the most grounded thing you can say is, I'll deal with that when I have more capacity. I'll deal with that when I feel more grounded. I will deal with that when I'm more relaxed. And that is wisdom. That's not avoidance. You're being wise to do that. If you're feeling disconnected spiritually at the moment, I want to gently normalize that too, because connection ebbs and flows. It comes and goes. Intuition quiets and then it returns. It gets stronger and then it fades. Faith shifts and it can shape shift across a lifetime. Spirituality is not a constant high or permanent sense of knowing everything. Watch my video on why people hate psychics, because they think they know everything. But that's not spiritual. That's ego, which is not spiritual. Even people who work intuitively have periods of just not knowing, periods of doubt, periods of silence. And even if intuition reveals itself, your human side can choose to ignore it. I'm a prime example of that. I've certainly had excellent insights come up and I've just pushed them away. Those moments are not failures of connection or anything. Your connection's there. They're often a part of deepening that connection. Looking back going, I was right. Oh my goodness. That was spot on. You don't need to force insight. And you don't need to search for signs. The signs will just appear. Sometimes the most spiritual act is simply being present with what is. As we come towards the end of this time together, just for now, I want to leave you with this reassurance. You are allowed to take this season slowly and gently. You're allowed to lower the bar. You're allowed to meet yourself where you are, not where you think you should be. Try, if you can, to park all of that. I know a lot of people use the phrase table, so table it. All of those things and feelings, thoughts about where you think you should be. If all you do today is get through, that is enough. If you don't feel joyful, you're still worthy. And if you don't have all the answers, join the club. Newsflash, none of us have all the answers. It doesn't mean you're off your path. You're still on your path. A part of the path is being challenged and not knowing. A part of your path, probably the biggest part of your path, is seeking. Life is not asking you to have it all figured out right now. It just isn't. I think I probably learned that in my mid-30s. It took me a while. It took me a long time to figure that out. And then I realized, you know what? I don't know what's going to happen. And it was only because nice things were flowing in and I was shocked. But why should I have been? I was absolutely shocked that things were falling into my lap. Now, I don't know how that happened. From when I look back, I don't remember shifting mindset, not consciously, but something had to shift. So life's not asking you to have it all figured out, not right now. And you never will, really. It's asking you to just stay, Just stay, just be where you are, to breathe, to be gentle, to keep going in very small, measured, human ways. And if you need to come back to this audio, please do. Let it be a very quiet companion rather than a solution, because I didn't record this for it to be a solution as such. I recorded this because I wanted it to work alongside you. You're not alone in this. We're in this together. You're doing better than you think. And it is genuinely okay not to have all the answers. It is genuinely okay not to have all the answers. As you approach the new year, that could be a relief. Just knowing, I have no idea what's coming in. There's things I'd like to happen. There's things I don't want to happen. Let me just remain open to what does happen. So take care. Take very good care of yourself during this time. Take good care of yourself. I will see you in the new year, and I'm looking forward to our new space and our new place together. Sending loving blessings to you all with a heart full of gratitude, a heart full of joy for you, for sticking with me, listening to me, and just for being there. And most importantly, for being you. If you're into living with purpose, clarity, and soul, the Aligned Living newsletter is exactly what you need. I am genuinely obsessed with creating it. Every week, I share strategies that work, drawn from close to 30 years as a therapist and soulful living being, plus powerful insights into spiritual and personal growth. You'll get access to free resources like the Self-Alignment Journal, e-courses to support your growth and journey, guided meditations, discounts on events and courses, and tools to help you shift your energy, habits, and mindset, all free when you sign up. I am building this with heart and honesty, and I'd love for you to be a part of it. Head to the link in the show notes and join me today.